I've said that the goal on this channel is just to have my condition understood and just to have the general ideas understood, even if they are not believed. But I think that the general goal should actually go further than that. I think rather than understanding being the proper term, it's something else. Because if you think about it, this condition and a lot of the absolutely infinite and trivial and Zen insights, they constantly undermine themselves. So to understand them is to simultaneously not understand them at all, right? It's simultaneously clarifying and mystifying. So if as soon as you understand it, you simultaneously lack understanding in it, well, then there's something else completely different going on there besides understanding. So I think it's helpful to label it differently because labels are tools which we use to distinguish one thing from another. And so it's best if we distinguish one goal from another. Because if what we're doing is essentially different than mere understanding, then it's best to really think about it in a different light so that we can come at it from a different angle. And so with that said, there's understanding, but then there's a couple other things which are kind of like deeper versions of understanding such that they're not even really understanding anymore per se. Like, for example, we have understanding, which means, you grasp the concept, you grasp the topic, right? You're sort of standing underneath it, you're holding it, you've got yourself underneath it as a foundation, if you want a sort of analogy there, right? Or a metaphor. But then deeper than that is realization. That's not just grasping the topic. That's like, actually seeing it, right? Like it's real, it's tangible, it's a realization. You can't really have that with these topics though either, because as soon as you realize these topics, as soon as they become tangible or real, again, they undermine themselves such that they are simultaneously not real, or simultaneously both real and not real, or neither real and they're not real. So again, even capturing them through realization is not adequate enough. So let's go even deeper than realization. Let's call it liberation. Because see, it's this sort of liberation from all axioms. You drop all axioms, you drop all assumptions, you drop all thoughts, you drop all classification, and you drop all constraints. That's what makes it unconstrained or infinite, right? It is absolutely infinite. It's so infinite that it's not even infinite. So we just drop absolutely all axioms, and that dropping frees us from all those constraints, right? It's a freedom, it's a liberation from absolutely all axioms. See that? So it essentially goes back, to the free your knowing video, right? It's freeing your knowing. There's a freedom there. There's a liberation. That's the best angle from which to come at these topics. So rather than the goal being understanding or even realization, it's best to come at it through liberation. You drop, you unconstrain, you let go. You quite literally liberate. And that leads to the wholeness and the openness and the vastness of a lot of these topics, which I, share with you here through these videos. They're so totally encompassing that we can't even call them totally encompassing. They're too total to be total. So we drop totality. We unconstrain ourselves even from totality. And that's freeing. That's liberating. So they cannot be understood because as soon as you understand them, you simultaneously don't understand them. They cannot be realized because as soon as they become tangible and real, they are also not real at all. Technically, as soon as you're liberated from them, you're still trapped in them, but at least liberation sort of admits that in a sense, right? Like it liberates you, but then because it's liberating, it sort of unconstrains you even from that, right? It unconstrains you even from being unconstrained. So it liberates you even from liberation. And so it kind of admits that even itself, its own term, liberation, is inadequate. So liberation is a term that sort of self-references in a way that neither understanding nor realization do. So yes, liberation is just as inadequate as the other two terms, but at least it more openly admits that of itself because it self-references and liberates itself from itself, right? Liberation from liberation, and liberation from that liberation, so on and so forth. So let me know if you have any questions. We'll kind of be coming at these topics from that angle. This isn't really like a super important topic. And the other thing too is that, with regards to liberation, there's nothing practical to be gained from it. I know that does not make my content very marketable. But yeah, there's nothing really practical to be gained from liberation. See, with understanding or knowledge or realization, you gain something. But with liberation, it's like as soon as you have it, it's also lost, right? You drop even the liberation itself, and then you drop that next thing and that next thing. And so there's nothing to grab onto. You're sort of grasping at straws and you're never actually possessing anything. You don't ever gain ownership over anything. So there is nothing to be gained. And this sounds very cliche, right? Like, oh, all these, non-dualists already say that, like there's nothing to be gained from it. But no, like I mean it in a very literal existential sense, that there literally is no practical benefit to this work of mine. As unmarketable as that makes it, I have to admit it, there is nothing to be gained because there's no understanding, there's no realization. There's liberation, but even there being liberation means there's not even liberation. So that's the essence of it. Let me know if that confuses you, though. I'm always happy to clarify as much as I mystify. But until next time, I'll see you all. Create a nice day.